Are you ready to get wrenching with Nate's Interactive Auto?
Guys, are you ready to get wrenching? Today we're going to do a coolant change. I'm going to show you guys an easier way to do it. Here we have a pump. It's just a little cheap diaphragm pump you can purchase. You can also purchase one for your oil changes. I prefer to use a diaphragm pump for this and a vane pump for the oil changes. That way you don't worry about cross-contamination. You can get them both for $10 a piece. You can even use this guy to wash your car outside. So now we're going to show you guys something a little bit different. And you can just run your hose right down into your reservoir. Flip of a switch. You can drain it into a jug. Something I wanted to mention while we're pumping this antifreeze out is make sure you see what type of antifreeze your car uses. This car uses a ethylene glycol based coolant, which is typically green. You can get the extended life and it'll last you a little bit longer. You want to change it every 3 to 5 years. Also, another thing you probably should do is make sure that you get a gravity tester. Test your gravity, and I'll show you guys how to use that. It's pretty simple. Just want to wiggle your hose in here a little bit. Make sure you get it off. Okay. Now that we've got all that, we'll work our way down to the radiator. But I wanted to show you guys something here. Now I want you to look at that. Look at that. You see how dark and nasty that is? Man, that's some nasty stuff. Wow. And that come out of the coolant reservoir. Anyhow, this is how you test it, and I'm not going to show you with this because I don't want to get my tester dirty. I'm sorry about that. But here's some I've made up, and you want to do a 50-50 mix. You want to do 50% distilled water, which you can get for $1 a jug, and then get some concentration antifreeze. It says antifreeze concentration. Okay. The reason is because you can make 2 jugs out of one. So, or you can get it pre-diluted, which is 50-50 mix. It's already ready. And you do not want to be mixing different types of antifreeze. So, you know, once you get this antifreeze out, you want to run some water through, drain it, run some water through, drain it. And I'll show you the process. I've already drained some, but this is clean. This is some of that I've made, a 50-50 mix. And I've seen one of the more popular, probably the most popular video on YouTube. Not video, I'm sorry, the most popular car person, I guess you would say, on YouTube. And they don't show how to use this gauge correctly. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Try not to get it on the paint. If I do, I'll just wipe it off. You don't want to leave it on your paint. But as you'll see, here's the gauge. Okay, and you want to make sure this pointer is lined up. There's a little circle right here, and you want to line it up. There's a line going through the circle. Just line it up. And once it's about lined up, and this is the part that he used it the wrong way in the video, I noticed. You see right here it says fluid level. Okay, that fluid needs to be level. It doesn't need to be full all the way to the top. So the fluid needs to be level with this. So it goes all the way across, lined up with the level. If you get a little too much, just barely squeeze the bulb and squeeze it back out. And you'll look right here and you'll see that this coolant is rated for negative 20 degrees. So we want it to be just a little bit stronger than that. So we're going to make sure that we add just a little bit of concentration. To make it stronger. Okay guys, now we're going to take a little bit of coolant, and like I said, you can use water to flush it, but what I like to do is take some coolant. This is a reservoir bottle. Put a little bit in there. Okay. There we go. See if we can watch this stuff pump this time. Okay. Now we're going to take this hose, run it back down in here. And I'll make another video on how to do it normal way, typical way most people do it. So there's a little drain cock down here. You just twist it to the left and so forth, but they're always made of plastic. Half the time they break or something. This one was on super tight, and I just felt like I was definitely going to break it if I were to take it loose, and I don't have a replacement, and I'd have to order it, and I need this car, so we're not going to do that, at least for not now. So now we're going to look at this. Oh, it looks better coming through the line. It don't look that bad. That's starting to clear up now. You can see right here. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to clear up. And your car may also have a air bleed valve, so you want to make sure you hit that air bleed valve and look in your owner's manual. Also, you could look online where your air bleed valve is located. So there is a way to get around that where you don't have to worry about finding all that stuff if you're concerned that you'll mess something up or whatnot. So what you can do is just take a little bit out at a time Okay, just take maybe a quart out at a time and replace it, and then run your car for a little bit and get it to operating temperature, let it cool back down, then replace it again, and just keep repeating the process. Okay, because if you take out much more than that, then you're definitely going to have to find that air bleed valve, so you don't want to do that if you don't know where it's located, but you need your coolant out and you're afraid you'll mess something up or you can't find the proper information. So they're pretty easy to find. For the service requirement for this car, it doesn't require it. It just gives the process of running your car, and I'll show you the process here. Just heating it up to operating temperature a few times. It's pretty much what you'll be doing anyways, and squeezing the radiator hose, getting out any air, the top and bottom hose. You'll just squeeze them a little bit once you've filled it full of coolant, and you drained it, filled it up again, and you're running the vehicle again, and you have the radiator cap off while the car's still cool, and you fill it up the best you can, start the car, and then start massaging the top and bottom radiator hoses to get the air out, and then air bubbles will come up, and you'll just keep replacing it with your funnel. Then you'll put your radiator cap on good and tight, run it to operating temperature, make until the fan kicks on, and turn your heater on in your car. This way, you just need to turn the heater on. You don't necessarily need to turn the fan setting up high. Depending on your car, you might need to at least turn the fan setting on 1. This way it don't take your car longer to heat up to be able to work the coolant through the system. Okay guys, the next thing you're going to want to do is put your line in your radiator. So now we got our dirty jug of coolant over here, and we're going to pump this out. I'm going to actually take a look at it. I'm going to close that reservoir cap. Oh man, you see how nasty that stuff looks? Man, that stuff is nasty. Look at that. Okay, while we're at it, go ahead and fill this guy up too. Want to watch your line. You have a high and low line, then you just want to bring it up to the high line. You don't want to overfill it. Okay. Stop right there. And what we want to do, okay guys, once you've let it circulate 3 or 4 times, that's the fan kicking on and off. You can turn your car off, raise your hood up to allow it to cool down a lot faster, and you'll want to wait for at least a couple hours, and you'll want to keep repeating the process. And let's begin. Oh man, look how dirty that is. That's unbelievable. Of course, we adjust our hose as we go along to get more fluid. You can see how nasty that is. Okay guys. Okay guys, looks like the coolant's full. Kind of squeeze the top radiator hose, squeeze the bottom hose. Just make sure if it's around any belts or fan or anything to keep your hands clear, so you can do this at your own risk. And it's full as it's going to get for right now, so let's go ahead and install our radiator cap back on. It's on good and tight. It's on good and tight. Let that circulate through, because as it gets hot and it circulates through the system, the car is going to essentially clean itself. And by doing this a little bit at a time, it's a little bit safer, because your heater core, you don't want it to get clogged up, and if you do it all at once, there's a good possibility you're going to clog it up. So just be careful, do it a little at a time, be patient. That's why I say over the next couple of days, you may want to check it and add a little to it as you drive it. You drive to work, just once you get to work, do your normal routine after work, or anything you do that's so many hours. You come back out, check your coolant, and then add a little bit to it if it needs a little bit. Add it up to the top of the radiator cap. Leave about 1 or 2 inches from the top of the radiator cap. And you want to make sure you add it to your reservoir when the engine's completely cold, just like your radiator. So remember to do those things and you'll do just good. Alrighty, we're going to put the hood down, let her circulate for another minute. Hey guys, just keep repeating this process, and thanks for watching Nate's Interactive Auto. Till next time guys.